Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joined today is your sustainability specialist, my friend, your friend, Phil.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great.
Mr. Grupe,
Happy December.
Happy December. And some people are describing it as February because of the snow and ice and cold weather.
I love it. This is the way it's supposed to be. We've gotten used to 50 degrees in December. That's not normal.
When's the last time
this is appropriate climate for this time of year?
Well, there you go. That's our show, folks. Have a great day.
I love it. I just think it's fantastic.
I do too. And with that being said, I think it's a great time to talk about salt because salt is it's interesting. We want you to be salt wise when you use the salt. The one that I think stands out the most to me is thinking about where it ends up. So it's one thing to throw salt, but you don't think of those impacts of what it's going to happen when it washes away. Right.
Yeah. So you put salt on your sidewalk, on your driveway, maybe the apron to your driveway because you got water and ice pooling there, and it is effective at getting rid of that ice. Absolutely fantastic. Great for safety. Great for just keeping things a little bit cleaner, but ultimately, that salt is going to wash away once things melt. That salt runs into local water systems, and it doesn't take a lot of salt added into fresh water to disrupt natural processes. The number that's given is that 1 teaspoon of salt can pollute 5 gallons of fresh water.
Eek.
So it doesn't. A little bit of salt goes a long way, and that is true for both. The impact it has on our ecosystems, but also a little bit goes a long way in terms of spreading it on your sidewalk, on your driveway. There's a certain amount that once you go past it, you can keep adding more salt. It's not really adding more benefit. It might make you think that it's going to melt faster or more effectively, but if you just pile it on there, you're not really doing anything except polluting water and also adding a bunch of salt. You're going to have to clean off your floor and carpet, and so it's really good to think about. Using salt effectively and not just kind of spray and pray.
I cut out salt, use salt together.
Really?
I was a salt guy for a long time, openly admit. I think we all at some point. I mean, and there are some circumstances, but I can tell you, you can find ways of doing things differently. So you can think of it that way, but I think just getting out and trying new things is always a good thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to look for substitutes, would you have any recommendations? A lot of people go to sand, and you're like, you don't want the sand.
It depends on what your purpose is. So if you're a runner, get some Yak Tracks. Get something that you can just add a little bit of extra grip to your shoes. Wear shoes with better traction more often if you're worried about your own stability when you're walking out there. I actually just bought for the first time just a really firm ice scraper. So it's a little bit like a snow shovel, but it's more of just like a steel wedge. And you just go out there, even better on a sunny day when there's a little bit of warmth and melting to help you out, and you just scrape the ice off. My sidewalk's cleaner than I've ever gotten it with salt.
Well, and
just
it's interesting too. Shoveling. The number one thing that's helped me too is shoveling often and early. Either
shoveling
early and
right
often,
away so it doesn't get packed down.
And just starting that. And then I have a known area where both my wife and I may have sprained our ankles. The issue is the gutter kind of comes down. And anyway, you kind of work through some of those scenarios, though.
And of course, if you're concerned about particular spots that are dangerous, if you're, maybe you're a business, you're concerned about liability with people coming in. I absolutely get that. I'm not going to say, don't use salt. This is never a good idea. Sometimes it's just necessary. But there are salt-wise practices. You can even, if you are if you're a parking lot sidewalk maintenance operator, you can actually get trained in salt-wise practices just to make sure that when you're using salt, you're doing so in the most effective way possible and not overusing it.
And if you do overuse it, you can sweep it up and use it again, which I think is another practice that just you wouldn't have ever thought about.
Still think about, for sure.
Seriously, if you salt an area, in fact, I kept a bucket. The first year I kind of was starting to cut back. Then I just became this one bucket, and I was trying to work it down. But by sweeping up, some of the areas that...
And your neighbors look out, they're like, there's salt bucket guy. Salt bucket Jeremy.
The neighbors already have lots of questions about what's going on in the Crosby household, but nevertheless...
Yeah, that's a great practice too. And it's even just, I think that we got used to things being cheap and accessible, but it means you're not throwing money out the door by buying salt again and again and again. Reusing it means that you're saving money too. I think that's something that we forget about a lot when we talk about efficiency and conservation.
For me to switch to, I was like, what am I doing?
Right. How many bags of salt are you buying to make this happen? And it's all just floating off into the gutter on the street.
I think it's like I said, there are some nice resources. So let's point people to the resources really quick. If you go to our website, we do actually have some information on the SaltWise program, so you can definitely learn a little bit more about it. But try some different things. Like I would encourage people to give it a shot and see what you can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do it, Phil.
You can.
All right. Speaking of waste, maybe.
Yeah.
You don't want to waste.
That's a good transition. I like
yeah,
this.
sure. I don't know about that. Holiday waste. We actually talked earlier this year. You came up with the coolest idea about wrapping. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah.
I do, because I went home and told my wife immediately.
Yeah.
About a different way of wrapping.
I confirmed the pronunciation with my parents, who spent 3 years in Japan.
All right. What was it?
I forget now because it was a few weeks ago. I believe it was furoshiki.
Yeah, I'm not saying it because I can't say it without getting in trouble.
So yeah, it is just reusing wrapping paper, and I do this anyway. If I get wrapping paper from somebody, I'm the guy. Even in my family, I get jokes about this, but I'm the guy that I pull out my little pen knife and I'm carefully cutting the tape, because if I can preserve that paper, I can use it again in the future. Now, one, this reduces waste. Two, again, I'm not buying new rolls of wrapping paper every year. There's certainly a certain amount of pride that I take in being able to reuse wrapping paper 2, 3, 4 times and have it still be in good condition. But if you use these cloth wraps, and you can specifically buy cloths that are designed for this, that's sold as furoshiki wraps, or you can just, if you have extra cloth, fabric, other things lying around the house, you can do the same thing. But it's just, the idea is that Christmas is one of the most wasteful holidays of the year, just in terms of the amount of packaging and wrapping paper, bows, ribbons that we cycle through. And it uses up space in landfills. It costs money to buy that many wrapping items, and it's just not as environmentally responsible. And so there are things that you can do to cut down on waste while still having a gift-filled, lovely holiday. You can cut down on gifts if that's your thing. Do more experiences. Do more just time spent together. There is, again, like so many of these things, there's something for everybody. But if you still are, feel like it's really important to do a lot with gifts, there are ways that you can reduce waste.
Yeah, well, I think you got to practice it, right? Start by just trying some different things. First off, get that knife from Phil.
There you go.
You're good to go. No. In all seriousness, there also is, outside of just the gift wrap, on the website we have a nice guide of different recycling things. So when you get to the end of the season, things to consider for recycling. So you think of your garland, your the lights, well, we already talked about the wrapping paper, but just that guide's actually pretty helpful in thinking of different ways of how either reuse, recycle, or is it going to go to waste?
Right. Yep. The same principles that we talk about with the kind of 3 triangles, the waste consciousness, reduce, reuse, recycle, and you can talk about 7 different R's as well. There's rethink and there's repurpose, but it's kind of the same general idea. First, reduce the amount of stuff that you're buying, waste you're producing anyway. Once you've gone through reduction as best as possible, then you reuse stuff as much as you can, and that's what I was just talking about, is trying to find ways to reuse things instead of throw them away and buy new. Try to take advantage of things that do allow you to practice reuse. Maybe more gift bags instead of gift wrap. A bag is real easy to reuse. And then once you've cut down on your waste with those 2 practices, then whatever you can, try to recycle. With gift wrap, if you crinkle it up and it just pops right back out, it's probably not recyclable. It's probably a little bit more plasticky, and you're going to have to throw it out. It's a similar idea with plastic film now. A lot of stores will take plastic films like plastic bags and bubble wrap and things for recycling. Same thing. If you crinkle up that plastic bag or film and it pops right back open, probably got to throw it away. But if it stays crinkled, whether gift wrap or plastic film, you probably can recycle it. So it's trying to recycle as best as possible. And even things like electronics, there are recycling options. We've talked about that before in concert with the spring and fall recycling event. And we have a bin in the lobby of City Hall for recycling string holiday lights. So that's a really big one too, is that holiday lights, we all know they go dead at some point. You lose 1 or 2 bulbs, or maybe that causes half a string to go out, you can't use them again. You don't have to throw them away. Those lights can be recycled.
Yeah, and that bin here fills up really fast. So
it does.
And they'll collect it for as long as they can.
Yep.
Make sure that if it's larger than, I think it's larger than marble size, you got to pull the lights out of there.
Yeah,
so
and I got to look into
that.
I got to chat about what we mean about marble size. We talking C6, C9? Is this a shooter marble?
Oh, you're into the C6, C9, huh?
Yeah, that's right. What size marble are we talking though?
Oh my gosh!
But
we can have a whole show just
if
on
they're
that.
if they're large bulbs, then there are different ways to dispose of or recycle those. But yeah, kind of your standard mini Christmas lights, really easy to just throw in that bin.
Well, if you want to explore this holiday recycling guide, again, I encourage you to go to the website, fitchburgwi.gov. You can check out, it breaks down all these kind of different scenarios that you talked about. I don't know. At least
We can't possibly cover it all here, but there's a lot in there in the holiday recycling guide.
pick like 5 things to try. Just saying. Everybody's looking for resolution.
Start with 2 and see how it goes. Make it a habit.
Yeah.
If you can do 5 right away, God bless you, do that.
Phil, if you do want to stay up on your green newsletter or have any questions in a lot of you're a pretty knowledgeable guy, so you could pretty much ask me
I know
anything.
a little bit about a lot of things. That's my thing.
Fantastic. Well, if they want to reach out to you and learn more, how can they do so?
Check out the Fitchburg website, fitchburgwi.gov. You hear from Jeremy all the time. Go to the Notify Me page, and if you click on green Fitchburg notifications to receive those, you'll get the green e-newsletters that I send out about every other month. There's also a green Fitchburg page on the Fitchburg website. Try to keep that updated with different goings on, and especially with the recent sustainability plan passage, I'm trying to do a few more updates in line with that to provide more education and resources and awareness.
Well, while I'm not going to say the name of that special wrapping, cloth wrapping, I'm going to try it with my wife's presents. Hopefully she's not listening. But I'm going to try it with and see how it goes. I'm not going to say the name. But
I'll share some links with you. There's some really cool pages that have like 20, 30 different ways of wrapping to keep it. You're not just like wrapping it up in paper and throwing it to the tree.
You can imagine this like me just taking it and
just roll it up a few times and
wrap it with another.
Put the seam on the bottom. We're good.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's an option
All right,
too.
Phil, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Yep.